Hello everyone, this is Julie with Craft with Julie, and I am finally getting around to creating this video for you guys. This is my July Stamp of the Month card kit. Here is the Stamp of the Month if you haven't seen it already, and it is called Voice of the Sea, and it's really hard to see like all of the details of the images, but there's a turtle, a tropical fish, a coral reef, a crab, and then a seagull, and then some fun sayings. Time to relax, hello, thanks, sending good vibes your way, the voice of the sea speaks to the soul, and then some little shells and a starfish. So this is July Stamp of the Month. You can only purchase this stamp set during July. It is $18.95, or you can get it for only $5 if you place the $50 order. Or if you are a Close to My Heart VIP customer, you can add this to your order for free when you place the $50 order. So that's an amazing deal. You get an $18.95 stamp set for free just by being a VIP. So when you have this on your order, I send you a little card kit in the mail, and it's just kind of my thank you for purchasing, and also just something fun you can use with your brand new stamp set. And so these are the cards that we're going to create today. So if you've already received your kit, go ahead and grab that and you can create along with me. If you don't already have this set, there is still time. You can find this set and all of Close to My Heart's amazing products on my website, which is juliescott.closetomyheart.com. And so let's go ahead and get started. In the kit, I have the pieces you need. You'll just need your own finishing tools like ink pads. So what we need for this one is some adhesive, and I'm going to be using the Close to My Heart tape runner. I couldn't remember the name. And then a spray pen or a spray bottle, and I just have Close to My Heart's little spray pen, some watercolor pencils. I just grabbed my set of pencils, and then some card bases, scissors, 3D foam, and then I am working on an all-purpose mat because we're going to be doing an inking technique. If you don't have an all-purpose mat, just work on an area that you don't mind getting, you'll need like a slick surface, so maybe if you have like a plastic bag or something, you could use that instead. So the ink colors we're going to use are Flamingo, Toffee, Intense Black, Charcoal, Capri, and Bluebird. So there are quite a few colors in here. If you don't have those exact ones, you can just pull from your stash of what you have. And I think that is all, and we can go ahead and get started. So the first card, this is going to be our messy one. Let me pull these away out of the way. All right, so when you receive your kit in the mail, I try to make it super easy for you guys. So you'll have all your pieces. Oh, and then I also write some written instructions if you're more of, I'm more of a visual, but if you need a little help on some of the techniques or anything, I have written some instructions out. But everything is in here. You have your card 1, and then your little pack of accents, and your card 2 pieces, and I'm going to put those off to the side, and then your card 3 pieces. So this is card 1, and we are going to do kind of like a smushing technique on the background of this white piece right here. So you have 2 white pieces and then this bluebird piece. Okay, so it's going to get a little messy, so I'm going to move everything off my desk except for we'll need this piece right here. Okay, so what we're going to do is take the Bluebird ink and the Capri ink, and we're going to just smush it onto our pad to get this look right here. And it does not have to be perfect. Each one comes out different, and it is white cardstock, so if you don't like how it turned out, you can just grab some out of your stash and try again. It's completely up to you. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay down some of this ink onto our surface. So I'm taking the Capri ink and I'm just going to smush it right onto my pad. And then the Bluebird, same thing, but towards the bottom. Okay. And then this is where your spray bottle will come into play. And I'm just going to spray that with some water. And then I'm going to take my white piece and smush it down and kind of push it to pick up that ink. And it's kind of a surprise how it turns out, so we will see. Okay, ready? Ta-da! So that one came out a lot darker than this one, but I think it works out just great. So it does curl a little bit because of that water, so just kind of straighten it out, and we're going to set it aside to dry. And then we just can wipe this off with our paper towel. Might have to get a little more wet. Isn't it the cutest little spray brush? I used to use my kid's water bottle, but then, you know, I got smart and just grabbed one of Close My Heart's little spray bottles. And it fits perfectly in my tools, so I just always have it on my desk, so I don't have to track down their spray bottle that they use for their hair. Okay, so while that is drying, we're going to just stamp some and color the seagull. So we're going to stamp the seagull in charcoal ink. Okay, here he is, this little guy right here. I put out a message earlier in the month asking if you recognize the characters from the Disney movies in this stamp set. So as I was looking at it, I was like, oh, Disney is represented on the stamp set. So the seagull is Scuttle, don't you think? A realistic Scuttle from The Little Mermaid. Okay, so we're just going to stamp this guy in charcoal ink. And I chose charcoal instead of black because I wanted it to be a little more muted and subtle. Okay, and then we can just clean this off. You know, I could have used my stamp chamois to clean off my all-purpose mat too. I didn't think of that. Okay, so I have him, and then we are going to go ahead and color him in with some watercolor pencils. So whatever set you have, or if you want to do markers, you totally can. Whatever you want to do is up to you. I just chose the watercolor pencils because they were softer. Try not to dump all of them. Okay, so I tried to keep them in order. So I have like a gray and a brown, and then I used an orange for his beak and his legs. Okay, so let's go ahead and just color him in a little bit. I didn't do his whole body, I just laid down some of that color on the lines, and just kind of right here on his belly and through the wings and feathers. And it's not perfect because I just want a little bit of color, nothing too drastic. You know, I can actually take this mat out so it doesn't glare. Hold on. There we go. Now that we're done with the water. So maybe you can see a little bit better. Okay, and you can add as much or as little as you want. And then his little beak, I just used an orange. And his little legs. If you have these are watercolor pencils, but you could use just colored pencils that you have in your stash too. Whatever you have, or markers. Okay, so I'm just pushing down a little harder on those lines so they're a little bit darker, and then I'll color it in with a lighter hand just to add more color to that log, just like that. Okay, so then we're going to cut this out. I know, fussy cutting, here we go. Just with my micro tip scissors. And you move your paper, not your scissors. Did you guys know that? That is something I learned from Close to My Heart. Watching the home office videos, I didn't know when you fussy cut that you should move the paper, not the scissors, and you get a smoother cut. Have you watched Close to My Heart's videos? They're doing like some really fun ones where they're taking cards from or projects from the idea book and recreating them, showing us how they made it. And it's really interesting and fun to see how those pieces of artwork came together and learning some new fun tips and tricks along the way. So you should check out Close to My Heart's Facebook page. It's called I think it's just called Close to My Heart, and you can find that on Facebook as well. Okay, all right, so we have our little seagull guy, our scuttle, and now we can, that should be dry enough, we can create our card. So grab your card base, and we're going to add this piece of Bluebird. I should remember that. And I use the light side, so I'm going to put my glue on the dark side. And then I'm going to lay down this. It did curl a little bit, but it'll be okay. I'm just going to add a lot of adhesive on the back so it'll lay down flat. And as it dries more, it will do the same. Ta-da! Okay, then we have our cute little seagull guy. And we have our sentiment right here that I need to stamp. And I just did that in black ink. Oh, things are getting stuck. And I'm using this little itty bitty thanks with black ink. I have intense black, but that's just what I have on my desk. If you just have plain, or just a plain black, that works too. So I'm going to kind of just set him where I want him, and then I'll stamp this, and then I'll attach everything else. And I'm just going to stamp thanks. And then we can finish this one off. Put my thanks back on my sheet. Okay. And I'm going to use a little bit of 3D foam on the back of, oh, everything is flying. Oh goodness. A little 3D foam on the back of him just to pop him up a little bit. Gives him some dimension. Okay. And then we're going to add some sequins. And you should have a variety of sequins in your little accessory pack. So I'm just put that right there. And I'm going to grab some liquid glue. I don't know if I had that on the list. I apologize if I didn't. Just move those a little bit. I need a little baby garbage can on my desk. All right, and then try to get those sequins out. I'll just set those off to the side. And I just kind of added them randomly through the bottom and then under the sentiment. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. And then I'm going to use this pickup tool. It has like a kind of a waxy end, so it picks these up really nicely, and then you can set them down where you want them. And just gonna add them on there. And you might have a few extra. I just kind of sprinkled some into your bag. And let's do this other small one right here. Okay, so that I have 2 more left if I want to add them somewhere else. And that is your card number 1. What do you think of that technique? Is that kind of fun to do a background just with some inks and some water? All right. Okay, so let's do card number 2, which is the turtle. So it's this one right here. I dry emboss, is it dry emboss? I used an embossing folder to get this fun pattern. This embossing folder is actually retired, but I had to use it. I mean, it just fit too perfectly. So if you have it in your stash, great. If not, I've done it for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and stamp the turtle. We're going to stamp him in charcoal ink as well. So you have your card 2 pieces. I'm just going to set these off to the side. We're going to stamp these 2. I'm going to get my little squishy mat. Okay, and here's our turtle, or Crush if you are a Disney fan. Okay, and our charcoal ink. We're going to need our pencils in just a second. Okay, so I'm going to stamp him. He's going to go off this edge a little bit, so you kind of just have to decide where you want him on your circle. And again, I chose charcoal ink so it had a softer look to it. And then Sending Good Vibes is a sentiment, and I think that works perfect with our Crush friend if you are familiar with that character. And we're going to stamp Sending Good Vibes on this little piece of white. All right, so now we can color him. And I used like a blue and I think that's all the colors I use. So like a pink for the coral, or I have a dark and a light, and then some green and blues. If you're not sure which colors to use, what I did was I just grabbed like a piece of a scratch piece of white, oh my heavens. I just grabbed an extra piece of cardstock and I kind of just grabbed the colors I had to see. Okay, so this one right here, this turquoise, I'm going to use for this water plant. So I designed these quite a bit ago, so I have to remind myself what I used where. And then I'm just going to color that in lightly. To fill in that color. All right, and then I used the gray for the rocks. Depending on where you place this on your circle, it might not even show, so you might not, the rocks might just peek out a little bit. And then for the coral, I think I used this bright pink. I'm just going to color that in, and that I kind of pressed a little bit harder to have that show up brighter. Just going to color that in. And you can see I'm not being like too picky. I'm just laying down the color. Okay. And then for the turtle, oops, his little shell right here, I use this kind of a brownish green. I used 3 different greens on him, I think. I wish these pencils had color names on them, so then I could be more helpful in what color I'm actually using instead of just this one. Okay, and that one I already used, so I must have, let me pull out a couple more greens and see what we got. Okay, so this one I used on his shell. I pushed down darker on the shell just so it had that darker look, and then I'm going to fill it in with a lighter green. Do you guys like this realistic look? It's kind of more of a stretch for me to design with it, but it's kind of been fun to see how things can come together. So on his tail, I'm just doing the outside, or I guess his fin. It's not his tail, that's his fin. And then up here where it's a little bit darker, I'm adding some darker lines right here. I find that people either love or not so much like this realistic look, but if I say try it, it's kind of fun to try something new. Okay, that's not the color. Oh, I was using that color. Hold on. Okay, so now I'm just going to lightly color in the rest of him with that same color. I was talking and I was not paying attention. Okay, so last month I did a scrapbook page which a lot of you enjoyed, and then this month I went back to cards. In August, if you've seen that stamp of the month, I'm going back to cards again because I have some fun ideas. Okay, and then in the little creases, or I guess it's anywhere else that needs a little color, I just brought this kind of a brighter green in. And then we have his bubbles that we need to color in, and I'm just using a blue just to add. Oh, you know what'd be really fun? I didn't even think of it till just right now, is to add some stickles to these little bubbles, some stickle glitter gel. That would be fun. Okay, so now we can go ahead and finish our card. So we have our card base, and then we have our embossed piece. Again, I'm sorry, it is retired, but this set was just screaming seashells, so I had to use it. And this is Glacier cardstock that I used. And then we're going to add our circle. You might recognize this next one, this next piece. It's from the the shakers, the thin cuts, the circle thin cuts from the shakers. So you don't have to make a shaker. You can just use it as a border. Okay, and that is Shortbread, that is around that. If you have questions on what I used, I actually put the products I used and the color of cardstock I used, except I forgot to add this one, which is Glacier. So if you have any questions on that, I usually add that to the instructions for you. Okay, so we have Sending Good Vibes, and we're going to just use some 3D foam for that. And before we attach it, we're going to add some of this gold thread. And I love the gold thread for a little bit of an embellishment, and it's retiring. So at the end of August, it will be retired, or while supplies last. So if you love this gold thread as much as I do, we also have it in silver. I would recommend grabbing a bunch now. I stocked up, so I did leave you guys some. I didn't buy all of it, but I would stock up on that if it's an embellishment that you like. So I'm just going to wrap it around my fingers and bring it together down at the bottom. There we go. And you can kind of just move it around, and it's going to go up in this upper corner. So I'm just going to lay it down right onto, oops. Oh, that didn't work. Hold on. We're going to try again. Usually it's smoother than that. Going to lay it right down on top of the 3D foam. You could use a glue dot if that's easier for you, but I just use what's already there. Okay, so there you go. And then you can kind of move it around to where you would like. Not what I'm going to move. Okay. Then I'm just going to add that right down towards the right hand bottom side. There you go. It's card number 2. Not fun. Okay, now the last one, we're going to do some random stamping. Where's my, there we go. I'm just going to bring this piece back in that I was using to color. So you basically have 3 white pieces, but we're going to add a lot of fun colors to this. So we are going to random stamp the background. We're going to use Flamingo ink for the clamshell, or if you just have kind of a bright pink. Where is my clamshell? There he is. So this is just this little guy, a little clam. And to random stamp, you kind of just do like a triangle pattern. So I'm going to just start here, and then I'm going to move down to here, but I turned it a little bit, if you noticed. And that is how you kind of get your randomness. So I have, here's a triangle, and here's a triangle. So you can see that kind of a triangle right there. It takes some practice a little bit, but once you get it, you get it. It's so fun. Okay. And then we have the other shell. I don't know what kind of shell that is. Conch shell maybe. And that one we're going to use Capri ink, and Capri is kind of a bright blue. And we're going to do the same thing, and you can kind of intertwine with what you've already stamped. Okay, so here is a triangle right here, and here is a triangle right here. So you see that I'm still doing the triangle pattern, but I have to work around my other shells. And then my last one is the Starfish, and I'm going to use Toffee ink. And this is kind of where you will fill in where you still need some color. You can still do the, triangle. If you need a little color like off the edge, you can just add a little bit more. You can even stamp them on top of each other. And I think I'll do one more right there. Okay. So then I'm going to keep this toffee open, and I'm going to do just direct to paper distressing. So I'm just going to rub that along the edge of my paper just to add a little more color to that white piece. See how it's kind of messy and fun? Okay, so that piece is done. So now we're going to stamp The Voice of the Sea Speaks to the Soul. And there we go. I love the ocean. It's one of my favorite places to visit. I wish I lived closer. I live in the middle of the desert in Utah. Okay, so you want to stamp it off to the right hand side because we're going to add some shimmer trim to the other side. If you live near the ocean, put in the comments. Let me know. I want to see who is lucky enough to live by the ocean. I do have the mountains, so I guess I shouldn't complain too much. So I guess it's a trade-off. Okay, so now I'm going to take my turtle off and we're going to stamp the little coral reef. It's not little, it's the big coral reef that's in the center of your stamp set. But my kids are definitely ocean kids. They love to go visit the beach, and so it's kind of fun. Okay. And I'm going to just stamp this right in the center with black ink. Sorry, I didn't mention that. And then we're going to color it in. Okay, so we are done with our ink. If you want to set those aside. And we're going to color these kind of the same colors that we did for the turtle. So this darker kind of tealish green for the plant. I'm going to add some darker spots and then I will go in and fill with the lighter color. Just like that. Do you guys like coloring with watercolor pencils or colored pencils? Let me know in the comments. It's something I'm not really familiar, like I don't do it all the time. Like if I'm going to color, I usually go for the markers, but this has been kind of fun to play around with these and see the different colors and how you can do the darker and the lighter. So it's always fun to get out of our comfort zone a little bit when creating. Okay, we're just going to do that same pink on this coral. And it kind of goes over here down to that other shell. And then I did kind of an orange, that's probably this lighter one. Yes, so it's kind of like an orangey pink coral. It's a oh, it's a coral color, but I'm using it on the shell. And then the gray I'm going to use for the little stones. And then the brown for the starfish. So I tried to kind of, well, I should have done that blue if I was going to stay with the background. Okay. Just color that in. And now we're going to fussy cut it, and I'm sorry. But I know some of you enjoy fussy cutting, so not everyone is sad about doing it. And I know a lot of you have made mention that you wish Close to My Heart had thin cuts for the stamp of the month, and I keep telling them, so maybe someday they will figure out how to do that for us. It's probably kind of hard because a lot of you get this stamp set for free, and thin cuts can be, you know, they're a little bit more expensive. So maybe it's just that, or they're a little bit harder to produce. I don't know. I should ask them. We can fussy cut for a few images. All right, one last little thing. There we go. Okay, so now let's grab our card base. We're going to attach this right in the middle, so you can see why we did that toffee on the edge to make that pop out of the center. And then let's grab our Shimmer Trim. Now this color is rose gold. Now here's a trick for a Shimmer Trim. There is a backing on this, so there is an like a plastic backing, because this Shimmer Trim it has adhesive on it. So what I do is I'll just add a little adhesive on a scratch piece, and then usually you can just peel that up, see, and it takes that backing right off. So now that's sticky. So now I can add this to my sentiment, and I'm going to just cut that off. There you go. So now the backing is on my scratch piece. And now that's sticking to me. All right. So let's add this to our card. The rose gold shimmer trim is so pretty. We have so many colors of shimmer trim. Pretty much, I don't know, there's a lot. I should have looked at how many we had, but all kinds of different colors. I thought the rose gold went really well with like the toffee color, and then the pinks that we colored the other stuff with. Okay, so we're going to just 3D foam this a little bit, pop it up, and add that so the starfish is kind of overlapping that shimmer trim, and there you go. It's card number 3. So they were a little more time consuming than some other cards that we've done, but I think they turned out really fun and some fun techniques. Let me find my last one. Where's my turtle? There he is. Okay, so again, this is our July stamp of the month. Let me bring this set back in so you can see it. It is only available till the end of the month, so a couple more days. And when you order this stamp set on my website, which is juliescott.closetomyheart.com, I will send you this kit for free in the mail, so you can create your own set of Voice of the Sea cards. Let me know what you think. Did you like the techniques and things that we learned today? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions, please let me know, and I will see you next time. Bye.